To the sponsor, when this bill was in committee this morning, you stated that you had not yet spoken with IDOT about their ability to implement the bill. So I'm surely you've spoken with them since then. What did the Pritzker administration have to say in terms of their ability to implement the bill?
I have not spoken to IDOT.
You have not? Okay. Let's take a look at some of the new language that's appearing in House Floor Amendment number 3. I think Representative Tarver was asking you some questions in connection with legislative intent, and I think I can probably try to make it a little bit more simple and clear as the speaker requested. If you can take a look at page 12, starting at line 2. First, I just want to make clear that this camera program is a program that's being operated by the Illinois State Police, the Illinois Department of Transportation, and the Illinois State Toll Highway Authority, right?
Correct.
All right. And this camera program and the description of it is for the cameras that those 3 entities, the ISP, IDOT, and the tollway, have put along the expressways, right?
Expressways and the state highway system.
Sure. And it's not touching anything that the municipalities, for example, do on their own?
There could be an expressway that ran through a municipality.
Sure, but to the extent a municipality decides they're going to put a camera somewhere, this bill doesn't have anything to do with what they can do with those cameras and who funds them and where they go and where they get placed, right?
If it's not on an expressway, highway, then this bill doesn't impact that.
Right, and likewise, if it's not an ISP, IDOT, or tollway authority, it's then that's outside the scope of this program, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in subsection B5, starting on page 13, line 3. You state that each law enforcement agency shall report their statistics to the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. And again, the law enforcement agencies you're referring to are to ISP, IDOT, and the tollway, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm very glad for that because, as we heard earlier this morning, we apparently can't rely on Kim Fox's office to report her statistics that we require under state law. So I'm glad at the very least we're relying on the state agencies to do this. All right, now to the bill. Members, at the beginning of this 102nd General Assembly in February of 2021, I filed HB 808, and I wrote it specifically to get more cameras in target areas where expressway shootings were occurring outside of Cook County, and I proposed an additional funding source for it as well. Now, HB 1103, House Floor Amendment 3, adopts some of these HB 808 concepts, which I appreciate. So to Representative Vella's point at his press conference earlier this week, he said he wanted to see some ideas from Republicans, so I'm glad that you have some Republican ideas in this bill. Now, here's the thing, and this is why I'm worried that you haven't actually spoken with IDOT. A year ago, in good faith, I spoke with the Pritzker administration and IDOT about whether we could move HB 808. And the Pritzker administration gave me a hard no. And the reason why they said they were saying no is because they said they couldn't expand the number of cameras. They said they couldn't implement it, they said they couldn't maintain it, and they said that it was going to be too expensive for them to do. And my bill was just limited to within 5 miles of Cook County, plus certain areas where shootings had already occurred. This is a much more expansive scope. Now, Chairman Slaughter, who's standing right by you, I asked you if we could still try to move that bill. I was willing to amend it if that's what was needed to get it passed, because I understood that this was important for public safety. And still, you said no. You would not allow it a vote in committee. So now I think it's very interesting that over a year later, at the end of session, now all of a sudden you've decided this is a good idea worth taking a vote on. Now I can live with better late than never because a good idea is a good idea, and I think we should do what we need to do to get things passed to keep people safe. But unfortunately, just as we've seen with Governor Pritzker and the Capital Fund, where we were supposed to get a whole host of new roads that haven't materialized, and just because Governor Pritzker and IDOT have the legislative authority to do something, doesn't mean they are ready, willing, or able to implement it. So let's be realistic. This legislation is only moving because Governor Pritzker and the majority party want a soundbite to feed you about how they're going to keep you safe. But I have no trust whatsoever that Governor Pritzker is actually going to do the work to implement this bill. But there is one thing that is very positive about this bill, and that's the language that's on page 13, lines 23 to 24. Everyone in this room knows that Kim Foxx, the Cook County State's attorney, has repeatedly refused to do much of anything to prosecute these expressway shootings. I'm glad we're recognizing that her approach has been an ideological and a prosecutorial failure. We shouldn't have to give new authority to prosecute these crimes to the Illinois Attorney General. Thankfully, this bill does. So maybe, finally, the people in Cook County and the rest of us who have to deal with her inability and unwillingness to do her job properly are finally going to start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Madam Speaker.